Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you're having a great day today. In today's episode, we're reading 12 Am I the A-hole stories that are definitely going to be concerning and unbelievable and definitely fun. And for the first time in a very long time, Nez is in the basket. If that's not 10 years good luck, I don't know what is. And it's also 11 in the morning for me today, so I'm having an early start today. Normally, I film the episodes of a nighttime, but today I felt like a morning start. Story number 1 says, am I the a-hole for not wanting our friend to ever come back to our house after he ate literally everything that we owned? Oh my god, what a way to start the episode. Your friend comes over and just eats everything. That's so wild. Okay, so my husband and I live abroad. Earlier this year, a mutual acquaintance, let's call him K, reached out saying that he'd been scammed with an apartment rental and had nowhere to stay. At first, we only offered a weekend, but he was polite and helped around the house and seemed grateful, so we ended up letting him stay the full 20 days that he'd asked for. And then he ate everything in the house. During that time, some things rubbed us the wrong way. He never bought groceries, and multiple times he pretended that he was going to pay but forgot his wallet, or claimed that he could only use Apple Pay, and of course that's not accepted at our local supermarket. He'd eat way more than his share. Once my husband and I shared half a pizza, and he ate the other pizza and a half without contributing. Still though, we felt bad for him, so we let it go. Yeah, you can definitely see how this would spiral out of control pretty fast. Like, yeah, we feel sorry for him, so we're gonna put up with it for the moment. But then the behavior gets worse and worse and worse. We stayed friendly, and a few months later we were planning a 17-day trip. Since he was struggling with rent, we offered him to stay at our place in exchange for taking care of our dog. I even wrote a Google document with instructions for the house and dog care and gym access. I told him that he could eat anything that was going to expire, fruit, veggies and yogurt and stuff. When we came back, everything was gone. And I mean everything. The entire fridge and freezer and pantry. He finished 2 jars of jam, a jar of peanut butter, a giant Costco bottle of olive oil, condiments and rice and snacks and cheese, even my husband's supplements. Oh wow, really? Creatine and protein and collagen. To not only eat all the food in the house and the olive oil and the peanut butter, but also your husband's creatine and protein powder. Wow. He completely destroyed a ceramic pan. He consumed things that usually last us 6 months in 2 weeks. I honestly suspect that he might have been taking stuff, because it's insane how much was missing. I didn't confront him except to ask him to replace the pan, which he mocked me about. Oh, it's just a pan. Why are you making it a big deal? Yeah, that's a bad sign. That's not a good attitude to have when you ruin somebody else's frying pan. Oh, it's just a pan. Why are you making it a big deal? Come on, dude. I felt deeply disrespected. Yeah, for sure. Now he keeps on texting me, acting like nothing happened, and then wants to hang out. I told my husband that I don't want him in our home ever again. My husband says that I'm being too harsh, and if he wants to stay friends, that's his choice. But I feel completely taken advantage of and disrespected. Yeah, you're definitely not being too harsh. You guys were very disrespected and taken advantage of. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting to see this guy ever again and refusing to let him come back to our house? No, definitely not. That's the good thing about it being your house. It's your house. If you don't want somebody in it that shouldn't be in it, that's your choice. Don't let him come back. And also, what does he expect? And what does your husband expect also? Like what, you should put up with this every single time? Nah. No chance. Your husband needs to wake up and smell the mooch. This is ridiculous. The top comment says he didn't consume it all in that time. He emptied your place and took it back to his to last him a while. He stole from you like he was on a shopping spree. Yeah, for sure, he would have been like, oh yeah, I can have all of this stuff. I don't want to buy olive oil or peanut butter or protein powder, so I'll steal it. Your husband saying that you're being too harsh. That's so annoying. The second top comment says, not the a-hole, change the locks. He gets wind from your husband that you have an overnight stay elsewhere. He'll be restocking again. In brackets, he made a duplicate. Tell husband to put on his big boy pants and smell the coffee. Mooch boy does not come in the door anymore. He can stay friends, but hubby goes to his place. Time for cameras and a door cam. A comment below that says, not the a-hole, this person's not your friend. And your husband needs to rethink anybody who mocks his wife over something that person destroyed. Yeah. "Oh, it's just a pan, why are you making a big deal about it?" That's the most childish, ridiculous sort of attitude ever. Like, bro, are you not a fully grown adult? If you ruin somebody's frying pan, you don't just say, "Oh, why are you making a big deal about it?" Replace it, dude. This quote-unquote friend has little to no respect for either of you. Yeah, if your husband wants to lessen himself by continuing this one-sided friendship with this guy, it's on him. However, you don't let anybody who treated your home the way that he did back in again. You can decide if you'll reconsider if this guy apologizes, but he's not allowed to be in your home alone again. And he also doesn't seem like the type of person who would apologize. He obviously isn't taking responsibility for anything, so I very highly doubt that he'd ever sincerely apologize. That entire situation is so frustrating. And yet definitely a not the a-hole consensus. And what a way to start the episode. Moving on to post number 2. Am I the a-hole for telling a kid to shut up on the plane? Today I went holiday with my wife. We sat to our designated seats and in front of us there were 3 kids with the mother sitting on the row parallel to them. 2 of the slightly older kids, probably like 10 to 12 years old, were well behaved, but the youngest 8 to 9 years old was such a sport little monster, shouting and screaming if he would not get what he wanted, not listening to the mother to stay quiet, or in his seat for taking off or pressing on the seat in front of him with his legs, and so on. I was quite irritated and appalled by such bad behaviour, and I just looked at my wife with my eyes in disbelief since the mother tried to keep him under control. Yeah, and it is disbelief, isn't it? It's like, oh my god, I can't believe that this is even happening. The flight took off, he got his iPad and watched cartoons. I had my headphones on and I fell asleep, but the plane landed quite far on the landing strip. We had quite a while to wait. The kids started screaming and shouting for this and that and throwing a tantrum. And I just had enough and I sat up a bit and I looked at him and said, "Yo kid, you need to shut up." The kid stopped, said nothing, and the mum said, "He's just a kid," 2 times. But if you can't control your kid to the point where I can hear him through noise cancelling, it's a bit much. In my opinion, I did everybody a favour. Even his siblings were tired of him. With his brother saying, I mean, he's not wrong, but not exactly right, which I found it a bit funny. And also the boy that I told to shut up sat on his seat facing me and stared at me for a while in defiance, I suppose. I doubt that I created a trauma or anything. Edit, we were on the plane for 20 minutes before departing. The flight was an hour and 20 minutes. We waited another 20 to 30 minutes before getting off after landing. Edit number 2, after reading some of your comments, my wife brought to my attention the kid is younger. In her opinion, the kid's 4. I do not believe so, since the kid was quite articulate in his speech, knows how to use the iPad. Then again though, I have no kids, so I leave it up to you. Maybe deduct some years. I did not ask him personally. The top comment says, as a parent myself, me too, this is my daughter. If my kid wasn't listening to me, which one of mine never listens to a word I say, if a stranger said what you did, I'd appreciate it. As the old saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. You just happen to be part of that village that picked the kid up on his bad behaviour. A comment below that says, you can't tell the difference between an 8 to 9 year old and a 4-year-old? Are you okay? That's a funny comment. But yeah, definitely a not the a-hole consensus from what I can see in the comments. Okay, the next one says, am I the a-hole for blowing up on my husband because he keeps on eating my emergency snacks after I've asked him not to? Today, I, 29 female, blew up on my husband, 31 male, for eating my emergency snacks that I keep for hypoglycemia. I'm currently 19 weeks pregnant with my second baby. In my last pregnancy, during the glucose test they do to see if you have gestational diabetes, they discovered that I actually have hypoglycemia. This makes a lot of sense due to symptoms that I've experienced even before pregnancy. Well, during pregnancy, it's much worse. I have to eat at least every couple of hours to keep my energy levels up. Even doing this, sometimes I get hypoglycemic episodes out of nowhere, and they're terrible to experience. I get the shakes and I start to sweat, getting hot flashes. I feel like I'm gonna pass out and lose coordination, and I get brain fog. I keep a handful of specific snacks in the house and car for when I experience these symptoms. The insatiable hunger that I feel during an episode is terrible. It's like I ran a marathon while fasting. And my husband is really selfish when it comes to food, to put it bluntly. He's always eating my leftovers. If there's something that we buy that we both enjoy, he eats the majority of it and leaves very little for me. Well, he's gotten into the habit of eating my emergency snacks. I started buying double so that he could have his and I'd have my own. but he eats everything so much faster and in greater quantities than me. If he finishes his and sees that I still have mine, he'll eat mine without even asking. Oh, that is so infuriating. And OP's even bought double. I've had this conversation with him so many times that it's tiring. To please not eat my designated snacks unless he asks me. He really doesn't think it's a big deal. Wow, so you've had multiple conversations with him about this, and he still does it. Oh my god. Today I started to not feel so good, so I went to grab one of my snacks, only to find out that he had taken it. I called him at work to see if he really did take it, and he said that he did because he was running late to work and needed to grab something easy. I blew up on him. I'm tired from pregnancy, I'm hormonal, and I'm chasing around a toddler all day. And yeah, we have other food in the house, but I keep these snacks because they're easy for me and they boost my nutrition quick. It seems so silly to be upset over food, but I've exhausted myself having this conversation with him, and he always says that he'll just replace the food, but that doesn't help me in the moment that I need it. Yeah, that's so frustrating. And if he's saying that he'll just replace it anyway, which by the sounds of it, he doesn't replace it, but if you're gonna eat OP snacks and then replace them anyway, or like that's the plan, then buy your own snacks, dude. I admittedly yelled at him, and I told him to not talk to me when he gets home and to figure out dinner for himself. So I guess my question is, am I the a-hole for being so upset over snacks? No, definitely not. The top comment says hypoglycemia can harm your baby, and his desire for a snack does not take precedence over your need for one. In fact, it's incredibly selfish of him. Yeah, like it shouldn't even be an option to him to take your snacks. Like he should think to himself that it's not even an option that he takes them. They're yours for an emergency situation. If he wants a snack, he needs to buy his own snacks. I would show him articles on the effects of hypoglycemia on a growing fetus, not the a-hole. The comment below that says he better walk through the door from work with an armful of your snacks for you and a bunch of flowers. That's all I'm gonna say. And the one below that says it's not about the snacks though. It's the complete lack of self-restraint and consideration for his pregnant wife and disregard for your health and the unborn babies. Your husband's an unkind man. Keep your snacks on you or in the diaper bag or purse from now on. He has shown you that you can't depend on him, not the a-hole. Okay, moving on to post number 4. And before we do, I moved the light and I moved the camera a little bit lower because I've kind of looked like a bit of a zombie in some of the episodes lately. And I had my light like super high pointing down. And every time I'd edit the video, I'd be like, damn, I look like a Draugr from Skyrim. So hopefully it's a little bit better. And yeah, I zoomed it back in a little bit so you can get a better view of Nez, the glorious goose. Okay, post number 4 says, am I the a-hole for not wanting to use any part of my husband's late girlfriend's name for our child? Oh, here we go. Okay. My husband and I have been together for 6 years, married for 3, and now we're expecting our first child. My husband lost his first girlfriend, Emmy, when they were both 21. They'd been together for almost 6 years and he truly loved her. He was honest with me about her and about the fact that she would always be someone that he missed, and he had maintained a relationship with Emmy's parents. That was always okay with me. He seemed in a good place to be in another relationship, and he dated before me, so it was reassuring. About 6 weeks ago, my husband mentioned that if we had a girl, he'd love to use Emmy or Grace, which was Emmy's middle name, somewhere in the name. He told me that it was something that he always thought of doing, and he told me that for a boy he had ways of using masculine forms of Emmy or Grace somewhere in a boy's name. I told him that I wasn't really on board with that, and he never mentioned this to me before. He asked me why he would, and then he said that he didn't know why I'd be difficult about it. Are you serious, dude? It was a few days later he told me that he wanted to use the names, and he was putting his foot down that he should be allowed to. Bro, you don't get full say on what you name your child. It's a 2-yes situation. If your partner doesn't like the name that you want to name your child, you don't name your child that name. You both have to agree on the name. He said that we can add it as a second middle name if I won't consider a first name or first middle name, but that it should absolutely be in there somewhere. He said only somebody jealous would be hesitant to use it like I am. I asked him how he'd feel about it if he were in my shoes. If I wanted to name our child after somebody else that I'd always love, but I couldn't be with. He told me that he'd suck it up for my sake, and that he would accept that the dead aren't competition. Then he said that he would actually be the one suggesting it, and there would be no weirdness for him. It was a couple of weeks later before he brought it up again, and this time he said that he would do this even if I loved my late partner more, and was only with him because I couldn't be with with my late partner, if I had one and I don't. That became something more emotional for me because it felt like a confession when he brought it up, because it was randomly said to me. Yeah, but maybe it also felt like he might be speaking for his feelings and how he might think I'd feel. I never had an issue with him loving Emmy or remembering her or feeling sad about her death or anything. I just never thought that I'd be asked to name my child after her. To me, it feels weird and wrong, and this whole thing has made me insecure in our marriage. I told him as much, and he suggested that I was jealous and I shouldn't be so threatened by somebody who died. He told his sister what was happening a week ago, and now she's asking me to explain my feelings and asking if I'm a woman or a little girl because only a little girl would be so jealous of a dead partner. Wow. I asked my husband why he told his sister because now she was getting involved. He said that he had to vent to somebody and he felt that I was being unreasonable and unkind about this. Am I the a-hole? Wow. No, you're not the a-hole. The top comment says, not the a-hole. Names are always a 2-yes scenario. Naming your child after his dead girlfriend is weird and it puts an unnecessary emotional burden on your daughter. Yeah, 100%. And the response says this. Imagine one day finding out that you're named after a woman that your dad loved, and that woman is not your mother. Children aren't meant to be a living memorial for the benefit of somebody else's feelings. The second top comment says, ask his sister if her brother is a man or a little boy who needs his sister to pick on pregnant ladies for him. Yeah, don't give an inch. I guarantee if you allow this, she will be treated differently than any other children that you have with him. It's pretty creepy to make the person carrying your child name your baby after your long-lost lover. This comment says your husband needs counseling. He never mentioned this because he knew that you wouldn't be okay about it. Yeah, but instead he calls OP jealous and then runs off to his sister to get his sister to back him up, saying awful stuff to OP like, oh, are you a woman or are you a little girl? Like, excuse me? Asking if I'm a woman or a little girl because only a little girl would be so jealous of a dead partner. The absolute audacity. The comment below that says, not the a-hole. I'm truly sorry that you did not know this before you got pregnant. Big red flag. And the fact that he got his sister involved is another red flag. I hate to say this, but you may want to reconsider this marriage. And OP said, what stinks extra is that we had talked about baby naming before that we even married, and we appeared to be on the same page. I wish he'd told me this before now because I feel a little lost on what to do or how to even start processing some of what he's saying. So he purposely didn't tell you this stuff about the naming because I'm sure he knew that you wouldn't be okay with it, but he tells you all of it when you're pregnant. Yeah, like the response says, I don't know, the fact that he kept this from you at that point says to me that he knew that it'd be a deal breaker for you, and he's now trying to play on the fact that you've been married and you're pregnant to pressure you into this because he knew that if he mentioned it too early, you would have walked away. And OP said, it says the same to me. I'm trying not to make excuses for him, and when I think about the past conversations, it feels like he said what he knew would sound good, because wanting to use these names so strongly feels like it would be long-term thinking and not short-term. And the comment below that says, not the a-hole. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like he literally told you that you're his consolation prize. I understand that under different circumstances you might not be together, but to outright tell you that he doesn't love you as much as her is so hurtful. And why would any rational human being want a constant reminder of that? And for him immediately to be like, oh, I don't understand why you're being so difficult about this. Like, you don't, dude? You don't understand why OP wouldn't be comfortable about this? Yeah, very much a not the a-hole consensus. And all the best to OP. No, Nez, you're out of the basket. Thank you for joining me, Nez. That was so awesome. She was in the basket for ages. When I started the episode, I expected her to get out after 10 minutes. So that's a good effort from Nez. I appreciate it. And moving on to story number 5. Am I the a-hole for straight up telling my boyfriend that I'm breaking up with him because he doesn't want to cook for himself? So I, 27 female, was talking with my boyfriend, 31 male, and he said that every night he doesn't want to have to cook after his long day at work, so he therefore will be eating at his mum's every night that he's not hanging out with me. In brackets, he also works from home. He's moving into his house soon. While I can understand and I appreciate that it sucks to cook for yourself, it feels extremely unattractive to have somebody say that they don't want to cook for themselves, especially after spending a decade cooking for myself every meal, every day. I work 12-hour shifts, and I just think, how would this be if we were together long term? Would I do all the cooking? I guess probably that's a deal breaker. I like cooking for my partner, but it sort of seems like it's not something that he's ever gonna do. The question is though, would I be the a-hole if I break up with him over text and tell him why honestly when I do? Or is it less a-holish to say that it's me, not him? For context, I'm his first girlfriend. Edit, am I the a-hole if I tell him that it physically repulsed me when he said it? Edit number 2, for anybody asking how long we've been together, we've been dating about a month, talking and seeing each other for about 4 months. He was a virgin and I'm taking this breakup thing seriously because I feel horrible breaking his heart, but I'm also thoroughly disgusted. Edit number 3, he's a work from home accountant. I commute an hour and I work as a nurse in a very physically and emotionally demanding field. I expect my partner to pick up the slack when I'm exhausted, as I would do for him. When he said this to me, it was like a bomb being dropped on me. Every excuse that I made for him just sort of shattered. I can't even muster the force to text him back because I'm so repulsed, but I have 3 night shifts coming up, so I guess I'll just pretend for now. Update, I don't know Reddit rules, but I said this to somebody who was saying that I was cruel, and I really want to share this. I like this man, I was falling in love with him, I posted on Reddit because I care. The fact that a 31-year-old man has no interest in cooking for himself physically repulsed me. Maybe because of past relationships, maybe because there are other underlying things that are adding up. I'm not sure right now. All I know is that when I entered this relationship, I thought I saw a mature, intelligent young man who was ready to start a life with a person he found equally appealing. Now I see a spoiled man-child who will have me cooking and cleaning for the rest of my life because he had such a long day at work. There's a woman who's prepared to do every single bit of the emotional, sexual, physical labor that is involved with rearing children, running a family, teaching somebody how to love. I need a partner, not a child. Partners share the burden of life's tasks. When I'm down, I need my partner to lift me up and vice versa. So most of these comments are correct. It is a huge red flag and I'm better off focusing on taking care of myself and maybe purchasing my mum and stepdad's home so that they can finally retire, and my brother and his partner have a stable living situation. Regrettably, I do think it was a mistake posting this. I appreciate the comments from everybody, but no one told me what I wanted to hear because the comments aren't from him. Ultimately, what I wanted to hear from him is that he would try, and that's not what he told me today when I called him. I'm a nasty woman in his world. As much as that hurts me, I have known for a while that I need to learn to let go and leave. This was just an exercise in that. If I hurt your feelings in the comments, I'm sorry. I'm just heartbroken. Update. So I like this man a lot, but ultimately I didn't see anything long term and I broke up with him today. He basically said okay, and I said I wanted to tell him why, and he said no. I said that's kind of something that a man that cycles through women and doesn't have long-term relationships would say, not a man who's never had a girlfriend and is breaking up with his first one would say. So I proceeded to tell him what he said and what it meant to me when he said it. This man proceeded to gaslight me into believing that he never said it and that he was just innocent and that I'm just trying to be cruel to him. He then said that he didn't intend on being more independent, which basically contradicts the gaslighting. So I blocked him and that's the update. My feelings are hurt and my mind is spinning, hoping to find peace again soon. The top comment says, not the a-hole, married for 13 years, 2 kids. I want you to know that this is the kind of stuff that kills relationships. The amount of built up resentment from an entitled partner will have you daydreaming about stabbing him in the eyeball. End it now, end it early, and save yourself any future heartache. The second top comment says, not the a-hole, because I'd bet my last nickel that this isn't the only thing that he refuses to do for himself, and that he'll assume that you'll do for him when his mummy stops doing it. You could have a conversation about it. You could ask him flat out, does he see himself continuing to go to his mother's for dinner every night? Or does he just assume that you'll do it? Ask him who does his laundry. It is possible that he truly hates cooking and would be willing to do all the other chores if you agree to do that one. It's not likely, but it's possible. Good luck. Yeah, not the a-hole consensus. And post number 6, am I the a-hole if I told my wife that it's not my fault that she doesn't know how to use a knife? This happened literally a few minutes ago. My wife was preparing some vegetables for a meal and I heard her gasp in pain. I come into the kitchen and she yells at me, "How many times did I tell you to not sharpen those knives?" She cuts herself pretty regularly when preparing food, and I admit that I like my knives to be sharp. Not like extra sharp, but just enough so you don't struggle cutting tomatoes. And every time she cuts herself, she blames me because they're too sharp. You'll cut yourself way more on a blunt knife. She's cutting herself all the time with a blunt knife, but blames the fact that the knife is too sharp. Blunt knives are so much more dangerous because you're trying to hack away at what you're trying to cut, and you can't even bloody cut through it. And then you end up cutting half of your thumb off. This morning I was in a bad mood and I told her, why don't you use a cutting board? Why do you have to cut vegetables against your thumb? Well, there you go. Then she replies, oh, of course, it's my fault. To that I replied, don't blame me because you don't know how to use a knife. Now she's mad at me. P.S. The cut isn't deep, just a small bandage and it was over. Yeah, like this comment says, not the a-hole, knives are meant to be sharp and when used properly will prevent injuries because you aren't trying to ram it through stuff. Maybe you need a couple of extra knives that are just for her so that she can do things her own way with them. This comment says, not the a-hole, if she keeps on cutting herself, she needs to change the way that she cuts things. And the response says, nice thing about knives is you get fairly immediate feedback for stupidity. Yeah, definitely a not the a-hole consensus. Okay, moving on to post number 7. Am I the a-hole for buying a car for my daughter, but not my grandson? One of my sons has 2 kids, John male 17 and Zoe female 16. Zoe is the result of an affair and lives with us because my son's wife refused to let him take her in. A few days ago was Zoe's 16th birthday and I bought a car for her. John's 16th birthday was last year and my son did ask me to help him buy a car, but I told him that I can't afford it. I was saving for a car for Zoe. Now my son is upset and thinks I'm favoring Zoe. Of course I am. She's basically my daughter. Now he thinks I'm an a-hole. The top comment says, I took her in and I raised her as my own following your mistakes. I see her as my daughter and she will be placed in a will as my daughter. Therefore, if I want to buy my daughter a car, I will. And OP responded, exactly. They don't understand that the relationships are different. On paper, they're both my grandkids, but the truth is she's my daughter. She always has been. The second top comment says, not the a-hole. What did your son and probably his wife think was going to happen when he gave you a kid to raise? You're Zoe's parent. He's John's parent. He's lucky that you're not insisting that he pay you child support. Technically, if he wants either kid to have a car, he should be the one buying them. And the comment under that says, you're literally raising her while John has 2 parents at home. Your son has some nerve asking you to buy his kid a car when he couldn't even step up for his own daughter. He created this situation. And this comment says, info, how much child support does your son provide for his daughter? And OP said nothing. Yeah, your son's the a-hole here, OP. And moving on to post number 8. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend that her free wedding is unrealistic? I, 24 female, am a member of a friend group in which one member, we'll call her Coral, 23 female, is getting married. She announced her engagement to her fiance, 25 male, a few weeks ago, and we were all happy for her. Over the weekend though, she shared more specific plans for the wedding, and that's where things have kinda gone off the rails. She said that she's been seeing a lot of people on TikTok and Instagram showing how to plan free weddings. Weddings where the couple spends $0, aside from the marriage certificate fee, I guess. At first I thought she meant like a city hall wedding, which would be completely fine. But then she got into details and her expectations for the ceremony. She's gonna try to find somebody with a large outdoor space to use, not formally a wedding venue, who will donate their area in support of love. She's gonna have all of her guests bring a potluck with very specific assignments. She'll have a friend officiate, a friend do photography, a friend do save the dates and invites, her family do the flowers, including some harder to swing things like getting a large tent, decorations, wedding favors, speakers, a band. I'm not sure what her plan was for a dress. And what's more is that Coral and her fiance really aren't poor, from what I can tell. She works as an accountant at a big company, and her fiance does software sales. And plus, his parents are loaded. It sounds like they just want to do the free wedding for the sake of it. That would be okay, but she's just shifting all of the cost onto other people. Yeah, some of whom are probably less well off. She told me that she wants me to make the cake, and then sent me some pictures for inspiration. The cakes were ridiculously elaborate. We're talking multi-tier fondant, flowers, gold leaf, and one even had a hand-painted watercolor design. I'm not a professional baker. I just like to bake cookies and brownies sometimes. I told her that those cakes would probably take me days to make, and they wouldn't come out anywhere near as good. She kinda laughed it off and said, "Oh, it's not about being perfect. It's just about everybody pitching in. It'll be fun." I told her that fun or not, what she was describing was basically her friends and family subsidizing her wedding with time, money, and labor. and that it was kind of unfair to expect people to spend so much on her free wedding. Or else she was expecting everybody to show up to a lackluster event and just pretend it was amazing. It's like a group project that none of us wanted to do because we already graduated and moved on from all that, so we don't need the credit. She does graduate a year later than the rest of us. I said that if she wants a free wedding, she should probably just elope or go to City Hall, because this isn't really free. It's just free for her. I might have been a bit more forceful in my wording, but I didn't swear or call her names or anything. She got super quiet and looked at me for a minute or so and then left, with another one of our friends driving her home. Later that night, I got a text from that friend saying that I'd really hurt Coral's feelings, and that even if her plans were a bit unrealistic, I should have let Coral come to that conclusion on her own. Coral then messaged me saying, "Sorry, don't worry about the cake," without any more context. I'm feeling pretty bad now, especially since Coral was so happy and excited, and she never really said anything mean to me. Perhaps I should have just gone along with the cake, since she said that she wouldn't be mad if it turned out bad, but I am worried that her wedding would not have been what she wanted. And I was also frustrated about the cake request. Edit, honestly I feel a bit bad now. Coral really is a sweet person who's just a bit naive. I feel like a lot of people in the comments are tearing her up more than she deserves. She has always been the baby of the group, and I just got frustrated and ranted on this case. I don't know what the fiancé thinks about all of this. Yeah, once again, not the a-hole consensus. This comment says, "Not the a-hole, Coral needed a reality check. To be honest, and as a good friend, you were honest and you gave it to her." The top comment says, "Not the a-hole, she's in for a rude awakening the first time that she asked for a free party tent from someone. Those are expensive AF to rent." The second top comment says, "That's really sweet that she wanted to let you spend a good $100 on cake materials out of your own pocket for her wedding." A comment below that says, "Not the a-hole, your friend is also embarrassing herself. Guests are not beneficiaries and employees. Coral is being tacky, and I honestly have secondhand embarrassment for her. I think a realistic discussion about this is akin to letting her know that she has spinach in her teeth." Okay, moving on to story number 9. Am I the a-hole for uninviting my sister-in-law from my wedding after she leaked my pregnancy? I, 26 female, am 10 weeks pregnant. My partner, 28 male, and I told our immediate families earlier, but we made it very clear that we weren't telling anybody else until after the first trimester. Last night, my fiance's sister, 29 female, posted a story on Instagram. It was a get ready with me for a family dinner that we had last weekend. She then casually, indirectly talks about becoming an auntie. She tagged me and my fiance. I saw it when I got a notification that I was tagged. I had over 50 messages from distant friends and co-workers before I could even process it. We hadn't even told our friends yet. I was totally mad. I called her screaming. She tried to say it was an accident and that she forgot and that she was just teasing. I told her that she was uninvited from our wedding. She cried. My future in-laws are furious, saying that I'm overreacting and I'm ruining the family over a silly social media post. They say that I should just be happy that people are excited. My fiance is on my side. The top comment says, "Not the a-hole, not only did she go against your wishes, she also took away your joy of making that announcement yourselves." This comment says, "So was it an accident or was she teasing? Cause I'm pretty sure those would contradict each other here. I'm not so convinced that this was an accident. And if that's the case, I wouldn't want somebody like that around in general, not just at my wedding." This comment says, "Not the a-hole, your wedding, your guest list, your fiance's on your side, and that's all you need." Post number 10. Am I the a-hole for excluding my ex's new girlfriend? I, 29 female, am divorced with a 9-year-old daughter. My daughter's father, 32 male, has been in a relationship with a woman named Stephanie for about 6 months. She has 2 younger daughters, ages 4 and 5. My ex-husband and I have had many conversations about how to ease my own child into their new blended family by making sure that she still has lots of time with her dad, not combining every single special event with the other kids, and keeping lines of communication open. Overall, the introduction has been positive, but my daughter has mentioned that the younger children can be overwhelming and sometimes annoying. However, despite the conversations, every single special event has been blended, for lack of a better word. We're coming up on Halloween and my daughter has trick-or-treating plans with her best friend and her family, and Halloween is my custody time. My ex-husband asked if he could come and bring his new girlfriend and her children. I said no, as I wanted my daughter to be able to have time with her friend without having the other little kids in tow. They're not officially her siblings in any way, and I feel that she deserves protected time just for her. My ex-husband says that I'm purposely excluding his new girlfriend and that I should be more concerned that she doesn't have many friends or others to go out with on that evening. I feel like that's not my problem, and I'm advocating for my own child without having her feel like she needs to people please or feel guilty. I'm not asking my daughter her opinion, as I do not want her to feel burdened with any guilt. I did also invite them to the Halloween event at her school that same week to help initiate balance. Am I the a-hole? No, not the a-hole. This comment says, he said that you should be concerned that his girlfriend doesn't have friends. Why? You're not her parent, nor friend, nor family. Make sure you keep talking to your kid and letting them know they can freely tell you their thoughts on the new additions to their dad's household. This comment says, at 6 months into a relationship, the girlfriend should not be considered family yet, and most people would have only just started to introduce a new partner to the kids at that point. Not the a-hole. This comment says, my ex-husband says that I'm purposely excluding his new girlfriend. Yeah, you are, and that's allowed. You didn't have any say in choosing this woman. You have no attachment to her. You're not her friend or relative. If you didn't have a child with this woman's current significant other, you two would not be involved in each other's life in any way, shape or form. How are you the a-hole for not wanting to include her and her kids in your time with your child? Your ex gets to choose who is involved in his life. That's part of being an ex-lol. This is something you need to nip in the bud, because he's doing everything he can to control you and to undermine your independence from him. You and him are no longer together. Time for him to act like it. You can co-parent together, sure, but that's where it ends. His relationship with his new girlfriend and her kids has absolutely nothing to do with you. You don't even need to convince him of all that, but you do need to enforce it. Edit to add, I want to know the last point home. You don't need to convince him of your stance, but you do need to enforce it. If he tries to argue, let it fall on deaf ears. I mean, don't respond at all. Set your boundary and be done. Do not waver, do not argue, do not defend. Set it and enforce it, and that's it. You don't need him to understand or agree. That's not the point. And the top comment says, not the a-hole. As a former 9-year-old, many years ago, I would not have wanted to trick or treat with 4 and 5-year-olds. That's when you're just getting into the pivotal pillowcase filling candy years and running around the neighborhood with your friends. It's awesome that you're doing your best to keep the peace. The ex calling it a blended family, only 6 months into dating this person, is deserving of some side-eye. Your daughter shouldn't have to give up her own childhood moments and memories for such a brand new relationship, and way to advocate for her. Okay, post number 11. Am I the a-hole for assigning the chore of dishes to my wife? My wife is obsessed with Stanley cups. She owns at least 2 dozen, probably more. She uses 3 cups a day. Her morning coffee goes in one, a flavored water goes in the second, and then a third goes with her to work empty so she can put whatever else she wants in it that day. For the last couple of years I've put up with it. We've been married 9 years and the only assigned chores are that I do the lawn care and the garbage. The smell of garbage can make her vomit. We equally cook and clean and do laundry and anything else that needs to be done whenever we see that it needs to be done. Chores have never been a point of contention until March of this year. I took a lateral position that changed my work style significantly. I now work from home 4 days a week, with the 5th being a half-day split between 2 offices. I'm home by 3 on those days, and so because of that, I've taken on way more of the chores. I'm not complaining about most of it because I can do it and my life is much easier than it was before. The problem is my wife's habits. Because her office is so remote, lunch options are limited, so she tends to take all the leftovers from dinner. The issue is that she will leave dirty, unrinsed containers in her car for days at a time and then just stack them up in the sink for me to deal with. Between the insanely bad smell and filling up the bottom drawer of the dishwasher every few days with Stanleys, in addition to the numerous cups, she also expects the matching lid and the straw to be reassembled before storage. Wait, so the smell of garbage can make her vomit, but she'll happily leave dirty, unrinsed containers in her car for days. Okay? I told her that if she wants to continue ignoring my request to bring her containers in every day, or to at least rinse them out at work, then she has to do the dishes from now on. Now, according to her, I'm being unreasonable because I'm home and I don't have any commute time. I have way more free time than she does, and so I should take on the majority of the chores. But from my view, I've done exactly that. Since the change, I do nearly everything. Vacuuming and mopping and cleaning, folding, storing clothes, grass, garbage, and most of the cooking. I don't think it's particularly fair to expect me to also deal with her stinky Tupperware and mountain of cups along with the sorting of the accessories after. Am I out of line here? No. The top comment says, smell of garbage makes her vomit, made me giggle. Then I read that she leaves dirty food containers in her car. You know her car smells worse than garbage. I'd assign her trash duty. The second top comment says, you have a dishwasher. No one has to wash dishes. All she has to do is put her own dishes in the dishwasher. You doing most of the mutual chores does not mean you should have to clean up after her. Grown-ups should take care of their own dishes, not the a-hole. Yeah, but OP's being unreasonable. Nah, that's super frustrating. Not the a-hole to OP, and that's definitely the consensus. Okay, the last one for the day, story number 12. Am I overreacting? My husband threw away my food because it's unsanitary. I'm currently pregnant and averse to most foods. My acquaintance made one of my favorite dishes, one of the few that I'm not averse to cheer me up and to thank me for a couple of favors I did for her, and my husband went to pick it up today. When he got home today, he threw it away in the trash without giving me a chance to try it. He claimed that her house smelled weird, there was cat hair, etc., and that he didn't feel comfortable eating the food that she made because it was cooked in a dirty and unsanitary environment. I've been to her house many times before and it was always clean. I told him that he didn't have to eat the food if he didn't like it, but he said that he didn't want me to eat it either. That's why he threw it away. Once I expressed that I was upset, he said that I could take it out of the trash as it was still packed up in the box and didn't get dirty, but I'm still pissed as I'm not an animal to eat food from the trash. Am I overreacting or was he out of line? Edit, he just admitted that he hasn't actually thrown it away. He just hid it and said that he threw it away to see how I'd react. I don't know how to feel anymore. What? Oh my god. The top comment, that last edit took me out. What? Yeah, what did we just read? The second top comment says, not overreacting. I don't believe that he was concerned about the state of your friend's house. In fact, I think he made that up. I think he intentionally tried to keep something that you were excited about away from you. He wanted you to be upset, and that's messed up. Does he get jealous of your relationships with friends and family? Is he annoyed about your pregnancy taking some focus away from him? Yeah, and he didn't even throw it away. He just hid it and said that he threw it away to see how OP would react. Run in the opposite direction, OP. And that's enough for today, everybody. I hope you had a great time. That was definitely a fun episode full of concerning stories. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. And the comment of the day today goes to Dustin. You say it in every episode because it is an adventure in every episode. Yeah, that's right, Dustin. 100%. Every episode's an adventure. It's a roller coaster every time. It's fun. It's horrifying. It's concerning. Like today's episode. The stuff that we read today was wild. And let's do it again soon. Make sure you look after yourself, everybody, and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!